Happy Wednesday, everyone. Today's story is The Little Red Hen. The little red hen lived in the barnyard with her chicks. She spent her time walking about in her pickety-peckety way, scratching the ground and looking for worms to feed her family. She loved juicy fat worms, and whenever she found one, she would call out "tuk tuk tuk tuk" to her chicks, who would come running. She would share out her find, and then it was back to her pickety-peckety scratching, looking for more. A cat usually napped lazily away next to the barn door in the sun, not even bothering to chase the rat, who ran up here and there as he pleased. As for the pig who lived in the sky, he did not care about anything as long as he could eat and get fat. One summer day, she was scratching away. The little red hen found a seed sitting in the dust. She discovered it was a wheat seed. If it was planted, it would grow seeds that could be made into flour and turned into bread. The little red hen thought of the cat, who slept all day, and the rat, who did as he pleased, and the pig, whose only concern was his food. So she called out loudly to them, "Who will plant this seed?" But the cat meowed, "Meow, not I." And the rat squeaked, "Not I." And the pig grunted, "Not I." "Well then," said the little red hen, "I will." And she did. Then she went about her duty, scratching for worms in her pickety-peckety way and feeding her chicks, while the cat grew fat and the rat grew fat and the pig grew fat. Meanwhile, the wheat grew tall. One day, Little Red Hen decided that the wheat was grown and ripe, ready for harvest. She called out loudly, "Who will harvest the wheat?" But the cat meowed, "Meow, not I." And the rat squeaked, "Not I." And the pig grunted, "Not I." "Well then," said Little Red Hen, "I will." And she did. She went and got the farmer's sickle from his tools in the barn and harvested the wheat in her pickety-peckety way. The nicely cut wheat lay on the ground, but her little yellow chicks, well, they crowded around her going beep, 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 crying for attention, crying that their mother was neglecting them. Poor little red hen. She didn't know what to do. She was divided between her duty to her chicks and her duty to her wheat. So, hoping for some help, she called out, "Who will thresh the wheat?" But the cat meowed, "Meow, not I." And the rat squeaked, "Not I." And the pig grunted, "Not I." "Well then," said the little red hen, "I will." And she did. Of course, she went a hunting worms for her children and made sure they were all fed and happy. When they were all asleep for their afternoon nap, she went out and threshed the wheat. Then called out, "Who will carry the wheat to the mill to be ground into flour?" But the cat meowed, "Not I." Meow. And the rat squeaked, "Not I." And the pig grunted, "Not I." "Well then," said Little Red Hen, "I will." And she did. The Little Red Hen loaded up the wheat into the sack and headed off to the mill far away. The miller ground her wheat into beautiful flour, and she trudged back in her pickety-peckety way. She even managed, in spite of the load, to catch a juicy worm or two for her chicks. She was so tired when she returned that she went to sleep early. The little red hen would have loved to sleep late, but her chicks woke her, peep, 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 peeping, for their breakfast. As she woke, she remembered that today was the day to make the flour into bread. After her children were fed, she went looking for the cat, the rat, and the pig. She called out, "Who will make the bread?" But the cat meowed, "Meow, not I." And the rat squeaked, "Not I." And the pig grunted, "Not I." "Well then," said Little Red Hen, "I will." And she did. She put on a fresh apron and white cook's hat and followed the recipe. She made the dough and kneaded it and shaped it into loaves and put it in the oven to bake. At last the bread was ready. A delicious smell wafted across the barnyard. The cat, the rat, and the pig all sniffed the air with delight. The Little Red Hen went over to the oven in her pickety-peckety way. She was very excited about the wonderful bread, which is not surprising, for had she not done all the work? The little red hen opened the oven and found that the lovely brown loaves of bread were cooked to perfection. Then out of habit she called out, "Who will eat the bread?" And the cat meowed, "Oh, meow, I will." And the cat squeaked, "I will." And the pig grunted, "I will." But the little red hen said, "No, you won't. I will." And she did. The end.